Let's get it!
Broadcasting to you from a little grass shack in the middle of the Pacific.
Live in the place to be.
Well, they're actually in the Bay Area.
Yeah!
But they are the premier Pacifica show that shines a spotlight on positive Pacific Islanders.
You listening to the sound.
Role models coming brown every Thursday night at 6.
East to west, we getting hurt.
Brought to you by Pacifica by Design. It's the iconic Faika Podcast with your hosts, Naki and Carl.
Well, it's just Carl today. No Naki. We're in season 7, episode 14. 17. And we are here with Ray Keller. Ray Keller is an entrepreneur in the great state of Texas. And we're going to get to know Ray and the things he's doing from an entrepreneurial standpoint, how he's helping people. I think that, the industry that you're in, Ray, is largely misunderstood. And I think that you either pay the price with your industry and have it when you need it, or you pay the price by not having it when you need it. And I think that's probably the best way that I can put it. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Ray. What is your entrepreneurial finding? But first, let's talk a little bit about the culture. You're Pacific Islander. It's in Happy Asian American Pacific Islander month.
Right, the month, yeah.
And where are you at? So a little bit about your PI background, and then where are you at geographically in this world?
Okay, yeah, cool. We're going to be here, Carl. That's a cool intro. I like that, kind of that hip-hop vibe.
Yeah,
That's
we got
beautiful.
it's actually our Nainoa and Mena are two producers, and Timena is the one that actually put that together. She all on her own. She went and got all the video clips of interviews and stuff that we've done the past few years, and then was like, "Hey, I've got an intro. Do you like it?" And we looked at it and we're like, I think we played it twice. The first time that we saw it on the air, we actually liked it so much we're like, it's our show. We're just going to hit it again and watch it a second time. So
Nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, well, good to be here. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, Pacific Islander background. So I'm half Tongan, and then the other half is Scottish Irish. So I always kind of joke, I'm destined to wear some kind of a kilt or a lava or where. So anyway, yeah. So the Tongan side is I'm part of the Veikite family. Most of them are in Salt Lake City, and the other side, Scottish Irish. That's my dad's side. Most of them reside in Ohio, kind of out east a little bit. But yeah, so you wanted me to talk a little bit about the entrepreneurial side, or do you want me to go a little deeper into the?
Well, I think we'll definitely get into the entrepreneurial side. So were you raised in Salt Lake, or where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so grew up. My dad was in the Army, so I was born in Provo, and then we moved to Germany, where my next brother was born, Stuttgart. And then from Stuttgart, we moved to Panama, where my third brother was born, right by the Panama Canal. And so his name is Cristobal, because it was a great explorer, a Panamanian explorer, or a Spanish explorer, I believe it was, Cristobal. So my brother's name is Cristobal, and my other brother is Samuela. He's got the Tongan name. Samuela Loho Loho Veikite, like my grandfather. So yeah, so we were raised in the Army, and then and then we were all over the U.S., San Diego, Massachusetts, Texas. I actually lived not too far from right where I'm at now as a kid with the glow bugs and everything over in Killeen, Texas.
So you've seen a little bit of the world.
Yeah. As a young buck, yeah, I had to learn how to make friends quick. That's one of the skills of being an Army brat.
Part of being social, right? So,
yeah.
Do you remember much about Germany? I'm always interested when people live there.
Yeah, a little bit. Just the snow. I was so young. I was 2 years old when my brother was born, a year and a half. So I do remember the snow and some of the cool German cars, the bug everywhere. But yeah, not a whole lot, though.
Awesome. Yeah, behind the lava. saying "Get it, Ray." They're from Salt Lake. I don't know if you follow them. They're a Samoan in the military, so they're
Yeah.
military guys and doing some cool things out there. Got to tie in with the Thai watches. So shout out to Behind the Lava Lava.
Yeah.
Um,
Love those guys. I just
yeah,
did a podcast with them recently, actually. So
they
that
are
was fun.
really cool to see, guys that just are like, hey, let's do this. And
Yeah.
then the military background that ties them together as well as the culture. So
Right.
Behind the Lava podcast, go check it out if you're looking for PI media. So we had talked to kind of real briefly in the pre-show about what actually was in the intro about you either need race services and you have them when you need them and it helps you, or you don't have race services and you still got to tough it out and figure out a way. I think that, from the Pacific Islander culture standpoint, it's definitely a piece of how we celebrate our culture and how we recognize, each other through, love and showing up and those kind of things. So talk about how you ended up in your entrepreneurial path and where you're at today with it.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I think about this a lot. So I feel like my roots with entrepreneurship kind of stem from learning how to play chess, actually, from being a young buck and my dad, bringing out the board and we play. And eventually I got to the point, I think at 8 years old, I started dominating my dad.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Is that okay in your house? Is that okay to?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Intellectual games were a big thing in our house. So yeah, just I feel like that's kind of where some of these ideas of problem solving birthed. They kind of they conceptualized, whatever the word is, came into existence. The genesis was I started solving problems on a chessboard, and I don't know if maybe my problem solving characteristics, part of my character, were maybe before chess, and they just manifest themselves through chess. But I feel like that's kind of a pivotal point for me, because that's what really led me into becoming a life insurance broker, and all the other things that I've dabbled and tried is kind of came from this part of my character to solve problems.
Chess, right? You got to stay not one, you got to stay several steps.
Yes.
I think several steps out ahead. Just briefly, I always think chess. I learned what the pieces did, and that was really when I first learned about chess. I was in the third or fourth grade.
Yeah,
it was fascinating to me that this piece could move to one direction, one the other direction.
Right.
It didn't matter whether it was vertical or horizontal, and this one could move all diagonal, but it couldn't.
Right.
Those was really fascinating to me. I never followed through with it. I didn't enough to, I can play a game and lose really fast.
Right.
But, just the thought that this piece can do this and this piece can do that.
Yeah.
The pawn makes it all the way across the board. Can become whatever he or she wants. Did you see just curious, did you see the movie, The Queen's Gambit?
Yeah, we just started that as a family on Netflix. I didn't know it was there, so just started it. It's kind of a short run. It looks like it's only 7 or 8 episodes.
Yeah,
but
fantastic.
It's
really interesting from I would think. I don't consider myself a chess fan, but I do.
Right.
I love I like the competition. I like the spirit of it. I like that there's so many different strategies and the whole thought of, somebody. And I learned this in jiu-jitsu when I was training in jiu-jitsu. My instructor would say, okay, so I'm trying to grapple at your level, and I'm only staying, 1 or 2 steps ahead. Because think about this: as you get to be, a blue belt, it's 2 or 3. If you're a purple belt, you're 3 or 4. And if you're a black belt, you may be, I may be training with somebody who's 7 steps ahead of me, but I'm only 6 steps, and we're rolling from move to move to move, and we're all, both of us are thinking that far ahead. And
Right.
from a chess standpoint, that's where I see people play, and I'm just like, that a whole different world out there that I'm sure I'm not aware of. But yeah, the Queen's Gambit was really one of those things that I think you don't have to be a chess lover or even a chess follower to get into the movie. But if you are, it obviously, helps with the interest. So did you follow through with the chess? Did you ever compete with the chess, or was it more of something that you learned from your father and took the concept from?
Yeah. We went to, my dad used to take me. That's one of the good memories I have with the old man. He's taken me to different chess tournaments, in elementary school. And he'd sit on the outside and just, wait for me to come out and talk about how each match went and how I dominated this one or I got dominated in that one. So yeah, I definitely took it on competitively just through junior high. And then I kind of stopped. I picked up sports and weightlifting and, because my dad was a big Star Trek nut. So science fiction. So sports was so foreign to me. I just kind of started playing ball at lunch break in high school. And then I really latched on to sports and athletics and really excelled in those things. And, was the heaviest lifter in my school and broke some records on speed, and then, so chess kind of took a backseat to sports, but it was always in there. That's where I just think that the ideas of solving problems in kind of creative ways, because that's what chess is all about. It's a very creative, strategic game. And so I feel like that I took that into sports, and it just translated beautifully with the spacing of a soccer field or the spacing of basketball and defense and offense. And, anyway, so yeah, that's just, so chess was part of my life and still is. And I play pickup games whenever I get a chance. It's a chess club here in Austin that I go occasionally and, challenge some of those guys and exercise some of those strategic mental muscles.
Is speed chess, is that a whole different game? Or if you're good at chess, are you good at speed chess, or is that more of a specialized thing? I've always looked at that like, like an extra mind bender of like, not only do I have to think and block like 3-4 steps ahead, then I got to do it on a timer. Does it translate? I mean, if you're good at chess, you're good at that, or is that kind of special?
Yeah, no, I mean, you definitely, if you're good at chess, you'll play speed chess, but it's a different kind of game because that one there's a little bit different strategy. You're trying to cause hesitation in the mind of your opponent so that you can also win by running the clock rather than winning with a checkmate. So if you cause enough hesitation in their mind, they're going to take a lot longer to process and make moves. So that's a whole nother kind of strategy, another approach.
I could take all day and make the wrong move, or I could do it in 3 seconds. So.
Yeah, when you're new to chess, it'll probably come easy to make mistakes.
So do you continue chess and the sports? So chess at one point and then moving on to sports. I'm assuming you're moving it, having a military father. Are you trying to pick these things up when you go to different areas, or were you able to kind of stay and develop in one particular city or, one base?
Yeah, no, we were definitely kind of that gypsy lifestyle. So it was, but that's the beauty of it too. In hindsight, maybe as a kid, you don't appreciate all the variety of people in the world and the variety of food and interests. But yeah, I mean, sports came in my later life, my young adult life in high school. And I was there for 4 years, at least for high school. So that was kind of a long stretch for me as a kid. 4 years in any one place, was pretty rare. But yeah, so it's just picking up stuff and benefiting from all the different personalities and ethnicities and cultures,
Awesome. So I am without my co-pilot Naki today. So I'm going to do a couple community announcements, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about transitioning from sport. Seems like there's a competition thread going through Ray's life at this point, competing on the chessboard or competing on the fields, or the bench or in the weight room. But we will get back to that. I'm going to hop into a couple community announcements. So this is the first week of Friday. So Journey to Empowerment is taking place this Friday, May 5th at Le Maota in Burlingame, California. It's a reoccurring event. J2E happens on the first Friday of every month. And this month they have SCDC and SWE as facilitators for the session titled Nurturing Our Mental Health. They invite you to join us in this enriching gathering where you will have the opportunity to share your voice, engage in meaningful conversations, and contribute to the nurturing of our mental well-being. Additionally, we encourage attendees to bring along their favorite dish to share, foster a sense of community and connection through the enjoyment of diverse culinary experiences. And it's not a PI event without food, so we want good food. Bring your favorite dish. You'll find Naki and I there this Friday. And then Island Grad is taking place on Saturday, May 13th at the San Bernardino Valley College Greek Theater. So we're talking to you, Inland Empire down south, starting at 6 p.m. The event is designed to honor all graduates of Pacific Islander heritage from the class of 2023, including those from high school, community college, grad school, technical schools, military, first responders, and many others. It's a free event. Free parking will be provided. And it's in Southern California, so free parking that's a factor that does play. In addition, there will be complimentary food available on a first-come, first-served basis. That means move quickly. From 3 to 6 p.m., the graduation ceremony will commence at 6 p.m. and conclude at 8 p.m. For more information, please email them at contact@islandgrad.org. Thank you to our producer for following along the kind of wild ride that we have when we only have one host. So we're getting back to Ray. He's a young man at this point, has learned chess and kind of took the strategy of staying steps ahead. And that's where you got that entrepreneurial spirit. So what were your sports? What were the sports that you liked to play as a young man?
Yeah. So I just some pickup ball. That's where it all started with basketball. So I'd play pick up basketball every chance I get. When we were kids back then, it was very common to be playing outdoors for pretty much everyone. So I would spend my time on a basketball court just in California at this time and play dunk ball and just play with the high school basketball players. I actually tried out for the team and made it, but it was so not part of my mentality to be part of an organized thing, because all I had ever done was play pickup, kind of jungle ball style, sort of, where you call your own fouls and that type of stuff.
Too many whistles in that organized stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I fouled out all the time. So in church ball, I was gone with my first quarter because I'm just used to using muscles and strength and power and speed and just street ball at its core. So yeah, so basketball, and I played football, anything I can do outside in the sunlight was just pure heaven for me.
I think basketball really, it hits home with the youth because, really, like baseball and even football, right? Football to a lesser degree, but baseball, you need gear. You need like a fairly decently manicured field,
right?
Like, taking bad hops off the face.
Right.
Basketball, man, you need a hoop and a ball, and a whole bunch of people can play with just. And some of the hoops aren't really like hoops, you know what I mean? They're bent, like all that, but you can, a whole bunch of kids can have a whole bunch of fun with just a ball. So it makes sense. What part of California were you in at this point?
At this point, I was Central Valley, Modesto.
Okay.
Just south of Sacramento, just east of the Bay, Oakland.
Yeah, we have a pretty big Polynesian community in the Central Valley. I was just actually at a Samoan church in Modesto. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weekends ago. They were doing a food giveaway.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a big PI community in the Central Valley.
Yeah.
So at what point do you think that you working for yourself or doing your own thing may work best for you?
I think I haven't been able to really maintain a normal job for most of my adult life.
You're entrepreneurial from step one.
Yeah, it's been quite the challenge, but I've done it on small occasions as needed, So it's been from the very beginning. Anything I can sell. I used to go in the river where I grew up as a little kid in California, in Modesto. There was a river that ran through right by the golf course. So I was diving down there with those orange net sacks with a rope, because the current would just take you away, and just grabbing this oysters at the bottom there. and bring them up, and just in the bush is pss, pss, you know, just you want some, show
Oh,
them the
wow.
golf balls. And yeah, so I mean, I it's from the very beginning. I've been trying to do stuff on my own, on my own terms.
And I think that's really rewarding in the way that, it's not always rewarding like tangibly, right? But it's rewarding from the standpoint of like, I can do, I can do what I want.
Yeah.
There's consequences, right? There's consequences when
Yeah.
if you don't want to work, but
Yeah.
and the other end, there's not like, you make $15 an hour. Well, it doesn't matter if you work your tail off for that hour or whether you sit around and take
Yeah.
3 breaks, you make $15 for that hour.
Yep.
Whereas as an entrepreneur, you can stack that stuff and work an hour that's extremely productive and have a completely different outcome.
Yeah.
Was there a personal experience, or in terms of protection and insurance? How did that become appealing?
Yeah. So insurance, I mean, it really started with when I was approaching 40 years old myself. I was born in 1977, so I was about getting pretty close to 40. And at this point in time, I'm married. We're fast forwarding quite a bit now because I've been doing this for about six and a half years. So I was approaching 40, and I've got 5 kids, a wife, and a senior citizen mom who's living with me, my Tongan mother at the time.
Good for you.
Yeah. So I just started to, my wife started having questions about, we just start to see our mortality. As we get older, we see that we're hurting more. We're not recovering as quickly from exercise or sports. Maybe our diet is not as good. So anyway, I just started to recognize that I'm not going to live forever. And so originally I came to life insurance as a customer, just trying to figure out what's life insurance all about, how does it work. And my inquisitive mind is like that. I don't buy anything without peeling away multiple layers with whoever the salesperson is. So I dug into it, and I just I just noticed some things as I interviewed different agents, and I just noticed some things that they seem like that there's probably a better way to do this, to offer this to me first. And then in my mind just kind of went with that. It's like, okay, if I'm having this experience, it's probably very likely that other people I know are also having this experience as well. So that's kind of where it all started, just in my own personal consumer research.
Makes sense. Being a learner, you're going to learn about the product, learn about the person, learn about the company.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to get into that, and you may have gone this route originally, but talk a little bit about the difference between an insurance agent and an insurance broker, right?
Okay.
I think there's like people are like, what are they? They're the same, or why would somebody say I'm a broker versus I'm an agent?
Okay. Yeah. Great question. Yeah. So an insurance broker is also an insurance agent. So they fill both those shoes. All insurance agents are not necessarily insurance brokers. And I think really the big difference, I think any insurance agent technically could call themselves a broker because their license is a standalone license. It gives them the ability to do their own thing at any moment. But what most agents do is they decide to go the route of getting some help. It's because whenever you start something brand new, as you probably could attest to just with your podcast or anyone that's watching this, when you start something new, it's difficult on your own. So a lot of agents, what they'll do is they'll decide to be a captive agent rather than an independent agent or an independent broker. And so captive just meaning, just like it sounds, you're captive to a captive agency. So you sign on a dotted line, I'll sell only your products, captive agency, and captive agency promises you that they will supply you with maybe a high commission rate, or maybe it's a desk in an office and a phone that's paid for and lights that are on and internet, so there's the captive agent. There's probably more of a difference between captive agent and independent agent or broker than there really is, because I think most agents can technically call themselves brokers.
So I sold life insurance as a young man in.
You did?
Yeah, I was.
Well, that's cool.
Worked with Primerica Life Insurance.
Okay.
Very captive, right? Like
right. Yeah, Primerica
term and vested difference. By term, there was no, when I got in the business, like cash value life insurance, whole life was the devil. Like that was like, and you got to have an enemy. We don't have to, but in sales, it's easier to make the other side just the worst ever, and then it's like, well, then even if mine's not great, it's better than So it's almost like politics. You build up a big negative campaign against universal life or any of the cash value life insurance. But I did, in that I did learn some entrepreneurial spirit because, Primerica Financial Services is, it's multi-layered. So you're hiring people, you're hiring and selling. So from that standpoint, I did take away a lot of that. That's a lot of what we did at PBD was like, hey, we can do things on our own. The other things that I took away were really, the rules of the money game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that has helped me in my life, understanding compound interest, understanding, foundation, protection, investment, retirement, like all the, how do you build a solid financial portfolio? And so, although I didn't stay with Primerica, and I look back at it and I see now, because I was diehard, like, and by term, invested difference, there is no other way. I didn't do any other. I had a license, and like you said, I could have sold whatever, but I was in a very, captive situation where, Primerica the agents couldn't sell anything else. I could have went and worked somewhere else. I had property casualty, Series 6.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Cool.
But we were one, a one-trick pony. But I did take some things away from there. When you think about the Pacific Islander community, and specifically the Polynesian community, you've probably helped hundreds of people and families in their situation, and a lot of them Polynesian.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you? And I know people, the eyes roll in the back of the head when you say, life insurance. Oh my God, it's like the last thing I want to hear, right? How do you overcome that? That piece, because I heard the same thing. It sounds exciting, business opportunity, build your own thing, life insurance, and then it was like click, eyes glaze over, and it's really hard to sometimes. You get that from the the Pacific Islander community? And if you do, to some degree, how do you break through that? How do you get there? Because there's information that we all need.
Yeah. So yeah, that's again good question. So I mean, I definitely get that. I don't know that that's exclusive, and I'm sure to Polynesians, it's just human beings. It's one of those products that's not very sexy, right? It's not anything you're going to see. Typically you won't reap the benefits while you're alive. So it's absolutely delayed gratification. It's one of those things. So, but yeah, I mean, my formula has always been it's just about being, like you said earlier. What'd you say? What was that quote you said? Availability?
Oh, the best ability is availability.
Yeah. That's just it. It's just being reliable. I've been doing this for so long. So most people now, I won't say most, but a lot have definitely heard of me and what I do. And so it's really just about being available, and because no one gets off this rock alive. So
we all know how it ends.
Yeah, exactly. And so everyone is going to think about it at some point. And so if I'm available and I'm there, then I just know that they will eventually make their way, and so it's just a patience thing. And I'm at this point now that everyone's just sending me their friends and their family. It's just a 100% referral at this point, and yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the short answer, if that makes sense. It's just being there. It's not about pressuring. I don't pressure anybody, but it's just about being present and them knowing that I got their back. When you're ready to do this, when you have that come to Jesus moment, that
Right.
then I'm here and you'll remember me. And so that's really the formula.
All right. We are going to take another quick break to
Cool.
do two more community announcements. When we come back, we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of what Ray does, and get some examples of, tangible benefit of what you have, peace of mind, security for people that, would be financially devastated if your income was taken away, all those kind of things. We're going to get into those when we come back, but I don't have Naki with me, so I got to break these up. So back to our community announcements. We are at the Samoan Community Development Center. SCDC is proud to announce their upcoming Samoan Wellness Initiative event entitled Ele Tu to Atasi Se Tangata, We Do Not Stand Alone, which will take place on May 17th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Southeast Community Center, located at 1550 Evans Avenue in San Francisco. We will see you there. Naki and I will be at that one. And then one of our favorite springtime events, the Pitt Pacific Islanders Together Shine Day, is happening May 20th at Jefferson High School from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific time. It is a free family event with cultural dancing, music, performances, great food. You can't have a PI event and have bad food. So not only is there food there, it's great food. If you're interested in being a vendor, reach out to pitvendorinfo@gmail.com and you will see Naki and I there as well. That's one of our favorite ones. That's kind of the one that Naki and I look at as kicking off the event season for the summer or for the spring and the summer. Although this last week there was like 6 different events in the Bay Area, and we could not we got to 3 or 4 of them. We just couldn't get to all of them. So there's the piece for community announcements. And now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts with Ray, of specifically, why would I want life insurance? Right. I think that's one of the things, like, well, I'm going to be gone, so I'm not going to see any of the benefit short of like an accelerated death benefit rider or something like that. But, I'm going to be gone. Why would somebody, why should people have life insurance? And are there some people that maybe don't need life insurance?
Yeah. So let's maybe answer that last one first. So those that don't need life insurance, it really just comes down to those that they call them self-insured. So those that are self-insured, what that means in plain English is you have the money to cover your debts, to cover your final expense, your burial, the plot, just everything that, all the costs that are associated with passing away in the United States. So
leave anybody with a burden to, do a GoFundMe to get a casket, or, you know what I mean? Like those,
yeah.
You have the money that the people left behind wouldn't incur a burden.
Have to finance it. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want them to finance it, right? You don't want them to be paying interest on your passing away for months or years to come. That's just not very nice.
Right.
So, so if you're self-insured and you have the money set aside or the assets or something like that, where your family is covered, so that's just for the bare bones. But, even those people, if you have all those bases covered, but you'd like to leave a little bit extra, a little bit something for someone special to you, grandkids or something like that. Yeah. So then as far as people that should get it, it's a pretty simple question that I pose to people when they're wondering. And just to ask yourself, if I were to pass away today, would my family struggle to make just next month's bills? And so very easy way to kind of quantify everything. If you passed away, how much what type of income are you bringing in every month? So it's just some simple math. And if your family is going to struggle, then life insurance is not the only solution, but it's a really, really good one in most cases.
Good question. Right. That's an easy one to,
yeah.
If this were to happen, what would result?
Right.
And, I think that, to your point, hopefully declining responsibility later in life, we own our house, the kids have moved out,
Mm-hmm.
we, have less debt, and there's a little bit less of a need of it. Whereas when you're young, you're raising a family, you're new to your mortgage, somewhat new in your career. You're not in that, higher level position that you'd be in your 50s and 60s. Um, you That's somebody who definitely would need something
Yep.
for the family left behind. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2015, and one of the first things I did was dig out my life insurance policy and go, did I do the right I think I did the right thing. I'm pretty sure I did the right thing. And I read the policy and I was like, okay, well, that's I was happy to read
What you had set up for yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I was like, I've always preached about, being responsible and
Hmm.
what if yet something happened to you. And then when, after the diagnosis, I was like, oh, well, I'm not 100% sure. I need to go actually read it uh,
Right.
to understand it. But there is some peace of mind that comes with,
Oh,
you
big
know,
time.
like, if you don't have insurance and you're driving down the road, you're one wreck away from, you know, from not being able to pay medical bills, the worst of it, right? Or
Yep.
even if you don't get hurt, then your car is gone. You got to pay for somebody else's car. Like, you're just living risky.
Yeah.
And having life insurance, it gives me at least the sense of I'm not driving down the road without insurance. Like,
Yeah.
life can still happen, but I don't feel like I'm, you know, risky.
Yep.
What are the other components of life insurance that people might not understand or might not be aware of?
Yeah. No, you kind of alluded to one, the accelerated rider. This is one I kind of preach a lot about. Most of my clients, any of them that are watching, they'll know what I'm talking about. They're more commonly known today as living benefits, is the term.
Yeah,
And
I'm
so,
old school. It was we weren't politically correct back in the '90s. We call it
right,
accelerated death benefit. Probably
right,
wasn't the best name.
right. The marketing team hadn't kicked in the gear yet.
Life life benefit. It sounds much better than accelerated death benefit.
Right. So it's not new or anything, but like you said, it's been around for a while. But living benefits has also kind of evolved a little bit. Most life insurance policies today will have one of the three living benefits, which would be the terminal illness rider. That one is found in just about every policy out there, which is good. And that's a rider that, just like it sounds, if you get diagnosed with something terminal, most cases, most of these riders are 12 months or less to live. Then, because it's very specific, right? There's always specific things once you start getting into the weeds with life insurance. You gotta die in a qualified manner with accidental death, an accidental death policy. It's not true life insurance; it's supplemental. So you have to actually pass away in a qualified accidental manner. So that's one of those little things that sometimes people, I find out a lot, people have those, and unfortunately they don't know they have them. I don't know whose fault it is. I don't ever like to put blame but they just don't know. That's the fact. They don't know they have it, and they think they have life insurance when really they don't. They have a supplemental policy that's meant to supplement real life insurance. So that's one. But living benefits terminal, I kind of talked about that. But one thing I definitely, majority of my clients are have a living benefit policy because I recommend it and I educate them on this. There's chronic and there's critical. Those are the other two of the three, and those are really important too, because a lot of our Polynesian brothers and sisters, there's a lot of them that are on things like dialysis, and there's a lot of health. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm actually trying to partner with some other health professionals to try to figure out a way to incorporate something with the healthy lifestyle with what I'm doing, to help people get better life insurance rates, but also just to help them take care of themselves. Like we talked in the beginning, your health is so important to everything you do. But yes, the living benefits, chronic and critical, those will cover pretty much if you just cannot perform 2 of the 6 ADLs, activities of daily living: toileting, transferring, bathing, eating. I can't remember the other 2, but if you can't perform 2 of those, then these chronic and critical will kick in and give you the ability, just another option to dip into that death benefit while you're still alive, to help out your family. Because I always quote this too. People can look it up and 70% of bankruptcies are medical expenses. So a lot of families are going to the poorhouse because they don't have an emergency fund or something to dip into, like a living benefit policy. So that's another big one. I mean, there's so much. I can go on. There's so many little things, but I guess the more important thing for your audience, Carl, to know is that I value the time that I put in educating every single person. It's not just about closing the deal for me. It's about teaching you so that you are never that guy that's saying, like, I don't know what I have. I don't, or your family's coming to the agent wanting a death benefit and it was just an accidental policy. They were expecting something else that they paid for. But anyway, I won't go on any further than that, but there's a lot, but those are probably some of the two big ones.
I think one of the things I always heard that surprised me was I would get, oh yeah, I've got life insurance through my my job.
Work, yeah.
And those aren't, I don't know, they're supplemental, I guess, but they're they're not portable. So talk a little bit about that, some of the misperceptions of people that or of life insurance that comes through your job.
Yeah, so there's group policy. So a lot of jobs will offer sort of an incentive package. It's part of your job offer, and when you take a job, they'll incentivize you with a work policy. But the work policy belongs to the employer. A majority of that death benefit will go to the employer. In most cases, work policies are fairly small, so they're not really designed to take care of your family. But I always encourage everyone to take the work policy. It's the extra icing on the cake. It's usually free or cheap, but don't rely on it. You need a personal policy that belongs to Carl or belongs to Ray. So when you quit, retire, get fired, whatever it is that causes you to leave that job, that policy won't go with you in most cases. And so you're going to just be older and typically less healthy. And now you're looking for life insurance, and it gets expensive every birthday. Yeah.
That's when I got to my current job. It was one of those things. Again, having learned that through Primerica Financial Service, I was like, "Where's the the life insurance?" And they were kind of like, "Oh yeah, it's a great and kind of trying to sell it in the sounds like, yeah, this is extra, but I know it's cheap and I know it's here somewhere. I just want to make sure that I do that. But I have one, I have my own, whether I'm working for, whoever,
someone or no one. Yeah, you got something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Last community announcement break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk specifically about how to get a hold of Ray, how Ray helps out, especially with Pacific Islander families. And we will be right back. We're going to go to our community announcements. Where did we end up? We ended up at Essence of Mana's parenting class is starting back up June 1st at 6 p.m. via Zoom. This is a free 12-week course that is designed to support adult family members by developing communication skills tips and leading to more nurturing family relations. For registration, contact Nani Wilson at nWilson@aars.org or Lulu Massina at lmassina@healthright360.org. And then what I consider the event of the summer in the Bay Area, the All My Usos Family Day, is happening August 19th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Gilman Park in San Francisco. It's a free family event. Everything's free. Food's free, drinks free, free resources, free haircuts, free entertainment, STEM activities for the kids, jumpers, food, school supplies. We're giving away backpacks with school supplies. It's just a great community event. Contact Christine Mawia with any questions if you want to table. Christine at allmyusos.org. And I'm going to do one more, and then I think we're good at that point. So Fangongo o Samoa's casting call. Samoan Solutions invites all actors and actresses to audition for an upcoming play that will be open to all age groups. While experience is preferred, it's not required. Auditions for specific roles will be held, and all cast members will be required to attend weekend rehearsals. Again, all cast members will be required to attend weekend rehearsals. If you are interested, please contact Samoan Solutions through their Instagram or Facebook page. So, really cool play that Samoan Solutions puts on. They do the whole casting and tell a different story. For the most part, they tell a different story every year. They have kids, they have song, dance. They're telling Samoan legends, stories. Really cool. So come check that out if you're interested and you want to be on stage. You can reach out to them through their social media. So we are back with Ray, and we're going to talk specifically about where you're at this point, how people get a hold of you. And for those of you that have been following along, the ticker going across has a lot of Ray's information, but kind of what's your, not, I want to say sales spiel, but your message to the Pacific Islander community about, the money game, understanding the need for things. Because I find a lot of this is people just don't have somebody that's going to sit down with them and explain it, right? So
Yeah.
a confused mind usually says no. I think a confused mind almost always is default. Well, I don't get it, so no.
Right.
And I think that having somebody that looks like them sit down and talk to them, walk them through it. Referrals and having a good name is everything. Especially in the PI community. But talk a little bit to the community about why it's so important, and then a little bit about how you can help.
Yeah. So majority. I guess probably the biggest thing is that I didn't build this agency just for the PI community, but I've been blessed to be able to serve. So 98. I think I did the percentage. It's almost 99% of my clients over the years are Polynesian families. So it's been an honor. It's a pleasure for me to do that because every dollar counts nowadays. Everyone's talking about inflation, and it just feels like we're all getting poorer and poorer. So that's the hole that I saw in the beginning when I first was looking for myself. Was there weren't any independent agents, so that meant there were no options for people. That was the hole. That was the chess game for me. That's where I had to figure out how am I gonna fix this. And so I learned about becoming an independent broker, and I took it a step further. I made sure I was a virtual independent broker, so that I'm licensed in all 50 states, all 49 states minus New York City. New York is kind of a unique beast when it comes to insurance. So I made myself a virtual broker, independent, access to literally everything that's I can get access to as an independent broker. And so no one does life insurance like me. I haven't run into anyone in 6.5 years that does life insurance the way I do. And so, I guess my specialties really are just, are quality and price. If you have access to everything, then you can get through me the least expensive option of the highest quality, because oftentimes you don't get both. You got to sacrifice one or the other. But I've only turned away one client in 6.5 years. One. I guarantee most agents out there, it's probably about 50% of their book is a decline, and they're sending them away with nothing.
I think that's the one of the things that having access to everything, right? So if you go to the Chevy dealership, right, you're going to have access to all the Chevys,
right,
and a few of the other ones that people traded
in those used cars, right?
It's all Chevy, and if you want Ford, you got to drive over to the Ford lot, and the Ford guy's not going to sell you a Chevy unless it's one of the ones that were traded in, but he's got all the Ford stuff,
right?
And something to think about. Important is life insurance, to have somebody that has access to all the a brokerage is going to have access and not have a captive product, right? Ray's able to access something like CarMax, you know what I mean? Like, you're just able to look through all of it and find out what works for you. So I think those are, and it's so important when you think about inflation. It just means that that's going to hurt the family that much more if income is taken out of the equation. It just means that it's that more important. So, young families, that's the thing that I had. I think my kids were 8 or something, or 9, when I got diagnosed with cancer, and that's what was going through my mind, was like, oh my, because I'm I'm the breadwinner, right? So what happens to the family when the breadwinner goes away?
Yep.
Well, emotionally a whole bunch. Financially, if you've drawn the right picture, people can be taken care of. So any shout outs that you want to give? Inspirations? Sounds like your father was an inspiration, introduced you to chess, put you on that competitive spirit, and also kind of got the mind moving. But are there role models, inspirations that you'd like to call out?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I definitely would shout out my mom too. Can't leave her out if I'm talking about my dad.
Trouble.
Yeah, exactly. She's a wonderful mom, and she's taken good care of us and raised us as a single mom. That's a whole nother story. But so definitely shout out to my mom, shout out to my wife and my kids. 5 kids. My wife Nikki. Definitely want to shout out my oldest son Ivan. I haven't seen him in a long time since he's become a man. He's been on his own and independent, and don't hear from him.
Ivan's the oldest. Go ahead.
Ivan's the oldest.
Go through five kids.
Yeah, Ivan, we got at the top. Then we get Avery. Then we got Jaden. Then we get Maya, and then we have Gideon on the caboose there.
Nice.
So,
and people parent different. The first kid different than they do the third,
absolutely.
fourth, fifth.
Yeah, you get more lenient. It seems like. Yeah.
Gets all the rules and gets all. I'm going to be the parent of the year every year, and then find out. Oh, that really wasn't that necessary. And I'm sure there's points where the kids are like, "What? I didn't get away with that."
Exactly. Yep.
So good to see there's a family anchoring you in there.
Yeah.
You don't got to be in Texas. You don't got to be, he's virtual.
Yep.
Definitely check Ray out. All of his information has been running across the bottom of the screen. We'll do a follow-up and see where you're at in a little bit.
Fantastic.
See where Gideon's at this point, and as it grows.
Right.
I always like seeing Pacific Island entrepreneurs out there, especially as something as important as insurance and as life-changing. You have one life-changing event, or you can have a life-changing event that changes the lives of the people left behind forever too. So just making a couple decisions is that important. So Ray, I appreciate the time. We will get back together. And I'm going to go ahead and close this out. This is the Faika Podcast. We are here every Thursday from 6-ish. It's still a Pacific Islander show at heart, so we like to start at 6. Sometimes we start a little closer to 6:15. But what do I got to say? That gives us character.
Anticipation.
We have great guests like Ray on each week, where we talk about entrepreneurial spirit, role models, people that we want our kids to look up to, and people in our community out there doing that. So come back and Faika with us next week. Naki will be back, and will not have me doing all of the community announcements. Come back and Faika with us next week. Love you all.